Let's talk pro ball.
Hey,
What's on your mind, man?
You have a leadoff hitter named Charlie Blackmon on top of you today.
You know, Thomas, we've talked about the lineup a lot during spring training, right? Don't read much into anything, right? I mean, I know it makes for good, it makes for, uh, it makes for good,
Copy.
yeah, good copy.
And good B-roll.
How about this? And good
B-roll,
B-roll. That the Rockies provide B-roll.
Yes.
So, yesterday, I talked to Charlie. I said, "Hey, Charlie, I think tomorrow you're going to lead off." And his comment was, "Hey, I've done that before." So doesn't that speak for itself?
There's the B-roll for that.
Yes. So anyhow, yeah, he goes, "Buddy, I've done that before. That's fine."
One thing I was talking a little bit with Ian Desmond about it also. With minor league camp getting going, some of you guys that are working on things like he is with the hands, can go down and get a bunch of at bats. How valuable is that for?
Yeah, I think
guys?
that's proven to be, a great resource for all players, all teams, going back decades, right? I remember as a young pitcher in minor league camp, throwing to big leaguers, throwing to Willie Horton, Tom Paciorek, Richie Zisk. I remember this, right? Remember Richie Zisk
Yeah.
and Tom Paciorek and Willie Horton? Yeah, probably not. But no, this has been going for a long. But it proves to be, good for players. Players want to be ready, right, for opening day. They want to be ready for spring training, and they'll do lots of different things to prepare. And going down to the minor league side and getting multiple at bats during the course of an afternoon is beneficial. You see pitches, if you're working on your timing, you're working on your balance, whatever that might be. It just gives you it gives you those reps, and sort of in-game competitive reps.
And you being one of those young pitchers, was it a battle not to really get too amped up? And I know a lot of times the big leaguers say, "This guy's going to be amped up and hit me," but
No, it's we talk about all the time of the little steps and the processes that guys get to the big leagues. I mean, that minor league pitcher who's facing Desmond or facing Cargo or facing Blackmon or facing whoever. I mean, that's like just another little box that's checked that they get over the awe of that moment, and it's all part of getting to the big league. So it's good for everybody. It's good for the minor leaguers to see those guys down there. That's why when we're inclusive, when we do work or include minor leaguers in some of our drills, it's good stuff, because ultimately we know, and I know that at some point, the 150, 175 players down in the minors are going to be up here with us. And I think that, the whole organization of, truly working together, has to take place. I think it has to be in place, because I think that helps the organization.
Buddy, you have Marquez on the mound today. For when you first came to the organization, saw him last year, worked with him that spring to where
Right.
he is now, can you share a little bit about what you've seen develop?
Right. I think when I look back to last spring, I saw a fellow with a good arm and a really nice breaking ball. Really could spin the ball very well. But I sensed that he was throwing. He wasn't pitching. His delivery would come out. It'd come out of sync a little bit. But he got by with stuff. And he was throwing enough strikes to, warrant, making the team. But now fast forward to where we are now, and what he went through during the course of last season. He's turning himself into a pitcher, and there's a difference between a thrower and a pitcher. We've all been down that path. But he's thinking about location. He's thinking about his delivery. He's thinking the importance of the changeup. what it means to, to keep the ball down, what down is. Mid-thigh is not down, knees are down, elevating your pitch. I mean, he's just come a long way in a short period of time for me, and it's really good to see.
One of the things I noticed about him last year, and of course I'm upstairs watching, I don't know like you do.
Right.
One of the things that struck me about him was when things got tight in a tough situation sometimes, it didn't seem to phase him. In other words, he doesn't necessarily, as a young pitcher, sometimes will let things spin out of
Right.
control a bit. That didn't seem to happen.
No,
very often.
I mean, no, you're right. Did it happen? I saw it happen a couple times. But overall, as the season went on, much better in that regard. So, he was able to, keep things mentally in check. He was able to, slow the game down phrase is, overplayed a little much. Everybody uses it. But, he kept his poise. He didn't get emotional. He relied on, principles. With good mechanics, I need to make a pitch. He didn't overthrow the ball. He was able to, throw breaking balls for strikes behind the count in tough spots. I mean, all those little things as indicators of growth, he was hitting.
Cody Parr's making a start today. Are you excited to see
Yeah.
him back in the lineup and getting live?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to get him back. I know, that was a little bit of a setback when you have the hamate surgery. But this is a surgery that you come back from relatively quickly, and he's responded great over the last couple weeks to the therapy and strengthening. He'll have the next few weeks. We'll get him in there and get him going. The last week it's been great for him because he's gotten at bats. He's faced some minor league batting practice pitching. He's got a lot of reps in the cage and on the field, so that he's got the reps with the swing. Now it's just he has to get the timing of game action. So we're excited to have him back.
You want to, pace your guys, get them ready for the season without overdoing it. But how important is it to get Ionetta with these pitchers?
Important. I think a veteran catcher, it's easier than a younger catcher for sure. Maybe a young catcher who's new to an organization, but Chris has, done this enough now and been with a couple different teams where the process of going to a new team, a new staff, he knows how to go about that. From his, going from here to the Rockies. From the Rockies to the Angels. The Angels to the Mariners to the Diamondbacks, and now back to us with a new staff. He's learned how to handle new staffs in a short period of time, which is good. And he's had all spring training too, as opposed to, acquiring a guy late in spring or in mid-season, like we did last year. But veteran catchers have a way of, they understand pitching. It's just getting to know the player that is, what you want to ultimately happen in a short period of time. But, Chris is good that way.
Where do you see Pat Valaika? I talked to him a little bit today. He's doing a lot more
Yeah.
activities. Is there a chance he could be?
Yeah, there's a chance from what I hear. I mean, we're not, I don't think he's close to being in a game. I haven't actually, Keith and I have not talked about any timetable as far as a game on the calendar, but he's progressing to that. So I think on the defensive side, everything's good. He can throw, he can go make a play, he can do everything defensively. He's getting his cardio in, he's running, so he's fine there. It's just the full intensity big league hack that you have to take. He's not there, and you got to get, and that's a progression. He's in the cage, he's swinging, tee work, front toss. I mean, at some point there's going to be maybe a live arm overhand where maybe he takes some swings, but the big leagues in competition, man, you got to turn it loose, and you got to be ready for that, not only physically but the confidence to let it go too, and that's where we got to get to.
Silver lining for him, perhaps he was able to show you and this team a lot of stuff last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
As
for sure.
opposed to, if this had happened last year, you wouldn't get a chance to
Yeah,
see where it went.
yeah. No, but I mean, I think we know the type of player Pat is. We saw that in spring training, and then we saw that, when he came up and finished out the year with us once he came back, once he got back to us. What he did last year was pretty impressive, off the bench and how he handles it mentally. And, he's got such a good head and he's mentally tough that, he's able to, handle, the role we gave him last year, and whatever role that is this year, he'll handle it because he's that type of player.
And Estevez, I think, got off the mound Friday. What's his progression?
Better. I mean, he's getting closer too. He's getting relatively. I think you're getting relatively close to writing about him getting in a game at some point. Not closer than you think, but he's getting there.
Does he have a live BP schedule yet, or?
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay.
but that the schedule part could happen the next day or two.
Anything else?
Yeah.
But, oh, go ahead. No, you go. Go. Mine's fluffy. You go.
Buddy, how do you differentiate between, a guy, especially the young rotation guys who are quote unquote struggling, or the proverbial spring training, they're working on something,
Yeah.
or they're, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I it goes both ways. I mean, in specific to a young guy or older guy.
Well,
Young guy?
Most of your guys are young.
Yeah.
So your rotation.
Yeah, I do realize it's spring training and it doesn't count. I understand that because I've been in their shoes. And ultimately, in a pitcher's in the back of their mind, they're looking at first week of the season. I'm looking at how their stuff is basically. Is their velocity where it needs to be? Are the mechanics where they need to be? Is the are they? I think more than anything, are they physically in a good spot? Is there any red flags on their stuff or on their arms? I look at that primarily. Because I know if their velocity is a little short, it's been proven to me over time that when the season starts, their velocity will be where it should be. It's more physical for me than actual performance. Now, when I'm seeing a pitcher for the first time, or somebody's trying to make the team, I'll be a little bit more critical of pitch to pitch and are they making pitches, and because those guys sort of know that they're fighting for a spot, and I'll see how they are, see how they're reacting to competition. So, but some of the guys that we all sort of project to be on the team, I just want to make sure they're making their starts, they're doing their side, they're making their starts. There's nothing, they're not in the training room. They're not, nothing's bothering them, because I know there's a different level of mental that happens sort of that last week of spring training that sets them up.
Is any update on Hoffman?
All I know is he's getting better. I think he's going through some manual exercises in the training room. I think he's getting closer to. I think there was a period of time where Keith and his guys didn't want him to pick up a ball. They really wanted to let the inflammation quiet down, which is what you have to do when there's a little inflammation in the shoulder. But he's going to be fine. He'll. I assume he'll pitch sometime here before spring training in a game.
How do you talk about your
Is this the fluffy?
Yeah, this is fluffy.
Nice.
Talk about your Aztecs getting.
Let's talk about it. Is this for Mountain West fans?
Yeah.
Up in the front range?
Yeah. Yeah, up and down. The front range.
Right.
B-roll of it.
Yeah, got to get that out to the Mountain West Conference.
No, it's an exciting time in a way, kind of a good distraction from baseball too. You talk about
Yeah,
the
I
NCAA tournament coming up.
over the years, we've seen the tournament, really become I think nationwide, right? Become a focal point for the sports fan, right? March Madness, whenever that was coined years ago, this has turned into a nice 3-4 week period for sports fans across the country, and sports fans in Major League Baseball clubhouses as well, and the people who are surrounding baseball, like you folks, right? And the players have fun with it. We have a lot of players that attended college and attended some of these universities during the tournament, and it gets a lot of coverage, right? March Madness gets a lot of coverage, and as players and coaches and staff members, it's a nice distraction. It's fun. March Madness is fun, and we have fun with it. So we're looking forward to it. And on a personal note, it's great to have San Diego State University in the tournament again, winning the Mountain West tournament again, with all due respect to all the great members of the Mountain West Conference. But really proud of our program. Steve Fisher, now turning it over to Brian Dutcher, has done a great job building a great program that's been, recognized nationally, which is great. And I'm proud of our university,
That's great.
both as student athletes and. All right.
It'll be nice for Chris Russin too when they take care of Tennessee here.
Yeah.
Typical.
Right.
Sorry, Warren.
It's okay.
Okay. All right, guys. You guys are the.